I tell you what, when I get from me to that sucker right there, if I'm on a screen, like a video call, I have to have on glasses. I cannot see. My eyes crossed. I bet they're looking at me like,
I'm blind all day.
But I think, well, I'm going to get some 1.5s, you know.
I think I pressured washed these last year in the parking lot and stuff.
That's just like we rehearsed it.
That's right. That's
Nothing
right.
like it.
Nope. Completely.
Welcome to the Backline today. My name is Theron Woods, and this is Justin Heskett. Justin and I met about, I don't know how many years ago it was. I don't know if I can remember that. But
5 or 6. How's that?
we met, I guess, when we were going to play at a Christmas party in Nashville.
Mm-hmm.
And we got to get together and play, and I realized that night that I had a new favorite country singer.
Oh, yeah. Thanks, man.
I mean,
Appreciate that.
We've talked before, and I said that you were my favorite country singer, but there's my dad,
Yeah.
and then there's Justin Heskett.
Yeah.
And so, anyway.
Very kind of you to say.
Well, you have a wonderful voice, and your personality matches your voice. Ever since I've known you, you've been just absolutely golden.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it. Same to you. Same to you.
Well, thank you very much.
So it's always good to have somebody to geek out and talk about guitars with. So
We do that often.
Yeah.
Well, welcome. I'm glad you're here.
Mm-hmm.
So, let's just start right in. When did you start with music? Did you start with guitar?
Well, I kind of started in high school band with trumpet, and so that's kind of where like the music started, flowing.
Right.
And then I got to where I didn't like trumpet, and I moved to baritone, and I kind of started moving around on weird instruments, and my music teacher was nice enough to let me do that. But then I started on acoustic. Dad bought me this old Honor, really cheap guitar. It was probably $50 at Walmart, I think. But I thought it was the world. I loved it because my older brothers had really nice Yamaha acoustics and really strong ones, but no one played. So about a year before I got the itch to play, we took them out and smashed them against the tree. And I didn't have nothing to play, and I knew that I wanted to have a guitar. And so he bought that Honor, and it just started from there.
Yeah, that's your payback from taking that good
It
Yamaha.
is. As soon as we broke them things, like a week later, I bet I started getting the itch.
Yeah.
So.
Yeah, I bet I'd like to have played that.
I know, and I remember those guitars. They were really solid made. Nice white lining and just beautiful.
Some of those old Yamahas, if preserved well, played really well.
Yeah, and this was back in the early '90s, or late '90s, and they were pretty good guitars back then. So
right. So you started playing at the age of
13.
13.
Yeah,
right.
yeah. I started just really. I didn't even know how to tune the thing. I just started finding whatever key is close to the radio and kind of picking one string.
Right.
So that's how I started.
Right.
Mm-hmm. And eventually in high school, I got on to my history teacher, Luther Crane. Was also a preacher of a church there in Campbell. And he put a thing out in the morning announcements at school looking for students that were interested in playing music or played an instrument or something like that. And I went to him and I asked him, I said, I don't know how to play, but I know I want to. And people said, you've taught them how to play guitar before. And he's like, well, if you don't know nothing, I'm not sure I can help you. But I kind of stayed persistent after him, and after a while he started letting me come to the Friday night jams he'd have with the kids at the church, and we started from there. And so I never looked back.
So you had your teacher actually gave everyone free lessons in the school.
He did. Luther Crane is a good man, and he did a lot of help for a lot of students. It was anywhere from junior high to 5th and 6th grade. He was a good preacher, good teacher, and a good fan of music, and that's really what he taught a lot of kids. So.
He taught them to love. He let them find whatever he wanted.
He
to
did.
find.
He did, and it didn't hurt that he also loved '80s hair band music, and that's what all of us loved. So that's what we played.
So he was a Pentecostal preacher that loved.
Yeah.
Hair bands.
Yeah. He's got a good head on his shoulders.
That's great.
And yeah, he's a good man, and I owe him a lot for music.
Is he still alive?
He is still around, still
Really?
preaching, everything like that. And we haven't got to play as much lately as I've wanted to, but I'm sure that the old recording studio we built upstairs in the church is still there. That church was built out of an old tractor manufacturing building in Campbell, and so there's huge 2-3 foot steel girders. So your doorway is only about this tall. So our whole studio it's lined with styrofoam and 4 foot tall doors.
And it's 4 foot tall. It's a big reverb chamber.
Oh yeah. I'm sure it's still up there.
Do you still play with any of those guys that you learned with?
No, we're all kind of scattered. A lot of them are in Jonesboro and everything, but I think every single one of us still play an instrument to this day.
Isn't that
because of him? Yeah.
Yeah, because of that guy.
Yeah, because of him.
So let me ask you this: when did you start playing with other people? When did you find? Did you play with people from Campbell, or did you have to get outside of your area?
Some of the guys in the church, we still played after high school, and we got into some places that we shouldn't have been. But we were just after the show. We wanted to play show and stuff. And I think we recorded one song and put it on the local radio station for free, and had it played once and thought we were the hit. We
told everybody when to listen.
yeah.
It's going to be on 6:30
We were one
in the
hit
morning.
wonders. And yeah, but we played there, and after a while I started moving off and playing with other people out of town and stuff. So.
Yeah. Who's the first band you played? What was the first band name?
Outgrown.
Oh wow.
Yeah, it was.
That's a good one.
It was a bunch of us kids.
I can't remember what my first band name was.
I think we wrote an original song, and I think Clear 94 still has it, but they'd be the only ones that would ever have a copy of it, because I think everything else was destroyed.
Will they play it?
I hope not. I hope not.
Well, so you started writing.
Yeah.
Did you write it?
Me and John Aycorp, another member in the band. I think we both co-wrote it. Yeah.
Huh.
So.
Yeah. I remember sitting around writing when we were in our early bands, on my bed and on the floor or whatever, and man, they would be.
It seemed like it was easier back then.
Yeah, yeah. Well,
now it's not. But.
We were not very picky.
Yeah, that's true. That's true.
Easier.
Yeah.
So do you remember your first song you ever wrote? Put you on the spot.
I do, but unfortunately I can't sing it because it's pretty vulgar.
Well, let's skip that.
Yeah, let's skip out.
You didn't play that one in church, did you?
No.
That came after 13.
No, I didn't. Yeah, it came after 13 years of age, but I think it came out of a teenager's mind. So
yeah.
It's better left just
right
back here in the memory.
A lot of different chemicals flowing in.
Oh yeah.
So when did you really start figuring out that you wanted to stick with this and start? Were you going? Let me ask you this: were you going for your own sound when you were writing, or were you trying to sound like someone else when you first started?
I don't know. I really had. Still to this day, I like doing it for myself more than money or any recognition. So it was kind of for myself. I was doing a lot of Gary Allan and stuff like that. My father always said that I sounded like Gary Allan, so I did a lot of his stuff, and so yeah, it was kind of a mix. Yeah, me and other people. So, yeah. So after that, I started finding musicians around here. Just the good thing about this area is there's a lot of closet pickers that pick at home and learned at home, and some of them are really good. And so we got together after high school and just started playing in places we probably shouldn't have been. We weren't old enough, but we were after the show, not the life of where we were playing at. But after a few years of playing in little bars and little clubs here and there and stuff like that, I found myself in front of a judge here in Dunklin County, and I'll never forget it because he was a very nice man. But there I was standing in front of him, and he said, "Well, son, from what I've heard stories is that you play music around this area." And I said, yes, sir, I sure do. He said, what do you play? I said, country music. And he said, you ever heard of Narvel Phelps over there in Malden, Missouri? I said, yes, sir. And he said, well, I play drums with him from time to time. And I was like,
did that help you or hurt you?
I was like, sir, could I talk to my lawyer 1 second to see if, you know. But no, he was a very good man, and it was very funny. And the next couple times I seen him, we talked about that.
Yeah.
You know, so
We all find
it's
ourselves.
it's neat that, you know, this area is just like any other in the United States. There's musicians everywhere.
Everywhere.
But it's kind of funny how you meet them, you know, sometimes. So yeah.
You know, and kind of piggybacking on what you're talking about as far as musicians here, there are a lot of good, like you said, a lot of good musicians, and there's not very many places to play.
No.
So most of the time you really don't hear anything about them because they're playing together.
Yeah.
You know, or they'll go to, you know, if it's a little town right up the road called Bernie, you know, it's what, 300 and something people, and there's 3 or 4 guys will get together and pick on a Friday night, and it's really good.
Yeah, and I think because, like you said, there's not a lot of places to play. It's not about the opportunity of playing; it's about the want to play.
Exactly.
And
Here
there's
it's
a
about
big
wanting to
difference
go
in
play
that.
music,
Yeah.
as opposed to,
Yeah,
you know, making a name for yourself. and
yeah,
living.
yeah. Learning songs you like to play, not because you have to play them. Yeah, that's the difference.
Good point, though. You said learning songs. After you got to where you wanted to quit, you didn't want to learn songs anymore, and you wanted to write your own.
Yeah.
How did that come about?
I don't know. I guess it's anybody who sings, I guess, kind of has that curiosity of wanting to. I wonder if I can write a song, you know, and it's tough. I still have trouble with it today, writing music, but it's just kind of a stress reliever almost.
Right.
If you succeed, you're happy, even if nobody likes the song. But if you fail, I still got songs that I like that nobody likes of mine that I still like to do.
Right.
Because I knew how hard it was to write it.
Right.
You know, so.
Or what it meant to you.
Exactly.
The story.
Yeah. So
You've got some great stories about your songs.
I try.
I've heard you sing your stuff, and it's just as authentically you as it's.
That's a good way to put it.
Tell us a story about one of your songs. Just play one of your songs for us. I'll play along with you if I can. But.
Okay. This one right here, it sort of pertains to me and it sort of doesn't. There's stories in it that are my own, but thankfully I never went homeless. In this story, kind of at the end of it, it gets to being homeless, and so it's a mix of fictional and non-fictional, and so it's a good one. It's called Heartache on Music Row.
Okay.
I spent my life chasing that old dream, running down the road and wasting gasoline. I've had more nights than I wanted in the tank, borrowed money for my bailout, leaving nothing in the bank. Nothing in the bank. For many years I've been in smoky little bars, playing for my beer tab, sleeping in my car. But those nights have come to pass for the sore worried heart, with nothing but empty pockets and an old flat top guitar. A flat top guitar. What is there to show than a heartache down on Music Row? Written songs that nobody knows, sleeping out here in the cold. I had met Brandy back when I was 21 on the beaches down in Florida when I was a hired gun. But I did my best to give her everything I was, but she was never satisfied, and everything was not enough. Everything was not enough. So I took my pride and moved back to Tennessee. I gave it one more try, but I drowned there in the drink. Now I don't have a thing, and I'm living on these streets, begging for your loose change and the food you didn't need. Food you didn't need. And what is there to show than a heartache down on Music Road? Written songs that nobody knows, sleeping out here in the cold.
I love that.
Thank you, man.
So you spent some time in Nashville too, right?
Yeah, I spent 3 years there.
Did you play? Where all did you play?
I went down to Tootsie's Orchid Lounge, and I got a job there immediately, and I stayed there the whole duration of my 3 years, and got to travel back and forth from Nashville, Tennessee to Panama City Beach, Florida, and it was a really good time to be me.
Oh,
So,
yeah.
yeah, it was a really good time to be me, I'll say that. So.
Yeah. Where'd you stay more? Did you stay in Florida more?
Panama, yeah.
Yeah.
The club owned a beach house just about a mile off the beach, and it was nice. It was very nice.
Did you play more music than you did?
Oh, I
everything
play. That's where Tootsie's Orchid Lounge is where I consider I went off to college, and I watched some great people play, and I just watched their fingers. I listened to the words they sang. I watched how they. I don't dance on stage, but I watched how they did it, and I was like figuring out what I can do and what I can't. And my boss there, he was pretty proud of himself, and he used to say that he's going to put you in honky-tonk school. But it's the truth, and I learned a lot, and spent a lot of time I played anywhere from 4 hours a day to 12 hours a day on a stage.
Shifts.
And I was more than happy to do anybody's shift that didn't want one.
Right.
So I was, it was a good time.
At that time, you're at that age where you have one thing on your mind. That's
Yeah.
How old were you?
I was 20 years old to about 22. Yeah.
That's a terrible age to do
I
that,
know,
actually.
I know. But it really opened my eyes to chord progressions and songwriting and just
Harmony.
just networking
Listening.
with other musicians and harmony, and I mean anything you can think about music. Nashville was a place I figured it out. So.
It really is. You can be as prepared as you think you can be to go to that city, and then and when you get there, you realize you're not prepared enough.
Oh, exactly.
You have to be there a while. They call it a 5-year city?
Yeah.
And it's really it takes 5 years to be able to play.
Yeah, and then it takes. I always heard that to become a star there, it was 10 years. Because I heard like Alan Jackson used to work at the post office, and 10 years after moving to Nashville, he finally cut his first, solid record. So, but it was. I went there. My first day going to Nashville, I knew 4 country songs. Because as I said, I started an '80s hair band.
Right.
And I only knew 4 songs, and I got up there and I didn't know what else to do afterwards. So we just had to repeat the same songs. Yeah. But we got through it somehow.
Isn't that funny? I mean, you're such a good country, just wonderful country singer, and you only have 4 songs in this town.
I know.
I have a bass player friend of mine that's from Detroit, and hopefully I'll have him as a guest on here later. But he said when he came to town, I think he'd been there, I don't know, he's probably been there about 11 years or so, but he knew no country. Yeah. It was all like R&B and soul and Motown and everything else but that. But he is an amazing country bass player.
Oh, yeah.
So play us another song. Tell us a story about something you lived.
Sure. This one is 100% mine, and like I said, that's about the only time I can write a song is when it relates to me, and which is any other songwriter. And but this one, we had an old farmhouse that my dad was actually born in back in the 40s and stuff, and that my whole family, generations, have slowly built onto this farmhouse. And in the 2009 ice storm, a tree fell through the kitchen. Whole thing fell apart. So Dad went out and got a bank loan, and he bought a 1989 double wide trailer and put it right there in the front yard. And so this song's called 89 Double Wide, and it's about the truest song I could have ever wrote.
Right.
But yeah, I hope you like it. 1, 2, 3. Thought I'd see the day when we would settle down. We're always running from town to town. Now Daddy was a worker and Mama was a saint, but on that very Sunday we bought a gallon of paint, 'cause Daddy bought a 1989 two-door 4-bed double wide, set her right there on the Mason-Dixon line. Bought herself a new couch never used, never been wrestled on or abused. Yeah, we were living high in that 1989 double wide. Go ahead. Easy living in this little town, nothing to do for miles around. Ain't found no problems with it yet, but if I had to leave right now, man, I'll never forget that Daddy bought a 1989 two-door 4-bed double wide, set it right there on Mason-Dixon line. Bought herself a new couch never used, never been wrestled on or abused. We were living high in that 1989 double wide. There you go. Now one day I know the walls are bound to fall in, but I'll still tell all my family and I'll tell all my friends that Daddy bought a 1989 two-door 4-bed double wide, set her right there on the Mason-Dixon line. Bought herself a new couch never used, never been wrestled on or abused. We were living high in that 1989 double wide. Yeah, we were living high in that 1989 double wide.
Oh, that
Yeah,
you are, I love your voice. It is so,
Thank you.
That is so good.
Appreciate it.
Ah, it's you. See, that's what I love about songwriters it's the delivery.
Yeah.
Anybody can write a song. Anybody, so hear me when I say this. I don't mean to say anything about a person that doesn't write songs, but the beauty of a songwriter that also performs their own songs and plays an instrument is the delivery of that intended mood.
Yeah.
And that story, everything is given to you exactly like it should be.
Yeah. I think that's the best way, and I love songwriting. I find it difficult with others because you can't get that effect. Because when it becomes somebody else's, you can't give it your all. I don't know if that makes sense.
That's a room you've never been in.
Yeah,
it's a world you've never been in.
So I do tend to write myself, even though I love writing with anybody. So.
Right, yeah. It is fun to write with someone if you have an idea.
Yeah.
If you kind of have a story and you can both tell that story and relate it to each other and make it, where they possess it.
Yeah.
But by the way, just off the record, I'd love to write with you really soon.
Yeah, it'd be great. It'd be great. Yeah.
That would be a lot of fun.
That would be awesome.
I actually have a song of mine that where I had a single wide trailer.
Oh yeah, yeah. There you go.
You got any more? I mean, just keep playing.
Yeah,
Just
I got plenty more.
You can sing to me all night. I'm a fan, man.
All right.
You know, talking about songwriting and where things come from and personal experience and all that, I'm the same way. I write a lot of my own experiences, but there are some where maybe they start with you and then they go into something else.
Yeah.
And so do you have anything where you made up a story about a fictional story?
Yeah, I do. Yeah, I understand exactly what you're saying, and sometimes it takes you forever to write a song, and sometimes it just takes you a few seconds. And I think when I wrote this one, I was just hanging out at home with a notepad, and I just kind of put pen to paper, and I think I wrote it in about 30 minutes. And I'm not boasting; I'm just surprised that I did it.
You usually know quickly, like, oh, I got to finish. Like, I got to go. I got to do it. I hear it. You know,
because if you let it set, who's to say it's going to set for years?
Most would say it will, because I can tell you I have a lot that are sitting there too.
Exactly.
I'm just going to listen. You just
okay. All right.
play.
This is called Toledo. She's only 16, going on 25. He was the son of a preacher man, raised in the Church of Christ. She was an only daughter to a man without a wife. Make things that much harder, the town started spreading lies. Just a bad case scenario in a little town in Ohio. No one really knows the truth. Where the little man knows wrong and right, and the young girl is a loving wife. It's just the way it goes in Toledo. Grown up with a baby on the way. He's a hard-working factory man, and he prays each and every day. But the town isn't over. No, they barely had their fun. They still think she's cheating on him with everyone. A bad case scenario in a little town in Ohio. No one really knows the truth. Where the little man knows wrong and right, and the young girl stays out all night. That's just the way it goes in Toledo. No matter what they do, what they say, or if the church gives way, he's gonna love you. It's just a bad case scenario in a little town in Ohio. No one really knows the truth. Where the little man knows wrong and right, and the young girl is the loving wife. That's just the way it goes in Toledo. Toledo.
Great song.
Thank you, sir.
Wow.
Appreciate it.
Sound like a real story to me.
It almost does. Doesn't it?
Yeah,
Yeah.
pretty well.
It's I want to say that I had a song years ago about Campbell only has one red light over by the city hall, and I know another country star wrote a song about one red light, but I was trying to write something like that, and I think somewhere along the line these two were in that story, in that song, and I trashed that and brought them over to another one. I don't know if you've ever done that in songwriting, but
Yeah.
you steal them from almost a whole different storyline and put them in another. So.
You hate to, but you know it's the best thing to do with it.
Yeah,
You know,
it's
you
just
just
good to have
eliminated
them.
one song.
Yeah.
Still, it was for the better.
Yeah.
Are with those songs in mind? Have you recorded those or?
I have
what are you
recorded.
doing now with
I have
those?
recorded some of these. The one I did earlier, "Heartache" on Music Row. We're just now finishing up a record that we started a few years ago, and then we just got Hot and Heavy on, but unfortunately COVID kind of shut us down and everything. But we're kind of starting to get the wheels rolling and get back into finishing that album, and I'm excited to see it come to fruition because I'm so particular. It takes a long time, but I would rather it do that than come out with something that I didn't like. So yeah, we're excited to put out the last few of those. But we do have stuff on iTunes if anybody's interested and likes listening. iTunes, Spotify, Apple Music,
Now for the
Android Music, anything.
For the viewers, is that just the Justin Heskett Band? Is it Justin Heskett? Or
You
how
can
do
look us
find
up,
you?
Justin Heskett Band on Google or anything. We're right in between Justin Bieber and Justin Timberlake.
Perfect.
Easy to find.
You blend perfectly.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah,
Little of both.
got better songs, I think.
What are you doing now as far as, what are your plans as far as when you get that done? Do you have, have you been able to book anything lately or are you starting to be able to?
Unfortunately, no, but I also pride myself on being a utility musician. And I really, it's almost like a two-sided coin. It's another thing that I love doing. So as much as I love doing my own personal band and my songwriting and singing and stuff, I also love just getting back and singing harmony with good musicians.
Right.
Playing steel guitar, and it's just, I'm kind of in my own world then, and I can really, really have some fun.
Yeah.
So I really just do whatever I can. I don't like to spend a week that doesn't have music involved in it.
Right.
You know.
Yeah.
But I work for a living, work in this area, and I'm set in my ways. So if I never go to Nashville again, I'm happy. You know, I'm happy right here. There's tons of musicians and music and my family and friends and all the things that make me happy are here. So.
You know, I think since the COVID thing has come up, especially with musicians, I think there is more of a regional urgency to get back in your area and create again. You know, I think a lot of people are going home gladly.
Yeah.
I think a lot of people wanted to,
Yeah.
but you know, and maybe next year that won't be the case. But it's I think it made the world bigger again, where we just went home and just did what we were going to do. Does that make sense?
Oh yeah.
That's kind of how it felt for me. I was glad to go home, sort of.
Yeah. Oh, I was excited. But I think that it taught me that the world kind of moves a little too fast sometimes.
Right. Exactly.
And I think everybody was so used to it moving so fast that when we were all sent home, everybody was gracious enough to go. And so it's taught me to balance a lot better, you know.
Yeah.
So, but
Good
yeah.
point.
Yeah. Back to my 80s music hair band loving, I think it was Whitesnake that said, "You don't know what you got till it's gone."
They did.
And
no, that was Cinderella.
Was it?
Yes,
Okay, see,
yes.
well, it's my memory's faded.
Yes,
haven't
it was
listened-
Cinderella.
Okay. I haven't listened
I actually
to it
knew
in
that
years.
myself. I didn't have
There
to
you
ask
go.
anyone.
There you go.
Yeah. Well, Justin, what do you have coming up as far as, do you have any shows scheduled right now coming up?
Yeah, October 24th at 𝙼𝐼𝐼𝐿, Missouri, we're going to have, there's a team roping competition out in the country there. And for anyone that's interested, can look up myself on Facebook or Instagram or anything like that, or Rane Cagle from 𝙼𝐼𝐼.
Right. Can you spell that?
Rane, R-A-N-E, Cagle, C-A-G-L-E.
Okay.
And he's the gentleman putting on this this endeavor, and he's really got a good night planned. He's the type of guy that just loves rodeoing and anything that has to do with it. and he's doing this in his own backyard. Has built his own arena. It's a good time for all ages. You'll have concessions, and everyone will be distanced apart. Bring your own lawn chairs. You can find the address on his Facebook or my Facebook, and it'll be a good time.
Please go check Justin out. I promise you, however long he plays, you will have a wonderful time, and it'll be great music. Take your whole family. So, Justin, thank you so much for joining us today. This has been a thrill. I love playing your songs and hearing your voice.
I'm glad somebody else does.
So anytime we can do that, it's always an honor.
Yes, sir. Greatly appreciate it.
Do you have something you can play us out with?
Yeah. I got a good one here for you. You know, speaking of that old '89 double-wide trailer we put in the front yard, I like to write a lot of songs about my older family. You know, people. I didn't know my grandfather, but from stories I heard, he used to sell Hereford cows, and he had these old signs, rusty signs, and one of them said "Half Mile East," and it kind of hung to me. But also with raising Herefords and selling them, they also would hire school kids to come out and pick cotton in the summertime, him and my grandma. And it's just, I really hear a lot of stories from the older folks of how back in the days, that's how they got their school clothes, was from working for Grandma and Grandpa. And it's just, it's such a rich country story that I had to write something. And speaking of which, that old farm place, I believe one of your main guys here, Mr. Barry Aycorp, he just recently bought it. So,
oh wow, just recently?
He just recently bought it, not too long ago, and I hope he takes good care of it, because it ain't just land to me.
Right.
So, but he's a good feller, and I want to thank him for having me on the show.
Wow, small world.
I know it, ain't
That's
it?
cool.
Yeah.
This is Half Mile. I've heard. I love this song.
Half Mile East, yes sir. You gonna pick with me, ain't you?
I'll pick, yeah. I'll
Okay.
play with you.
Ready?
Yeah, okay.
1, 2,
If I can.
3, 4. Just a half mile east, down Old Bailey Road. Just a half mile east, down Old Bailey Road. There's an old man and woman selling Hereford cows, cotton I'm told. If you get there fast enough, you might be able to work. If you get there fast enough, you might be able to work. Even though it's hard living, that cotton don't pay in dirt. Let's play one, man. So come on if you're willing to this 80-acre farm. I said, come on if you're willing to this 80-acre farm. You can jump up on this tractor and I'll work you till the early morn. One more time. Just a half-mile east down Old Bailey Road. Just a half-mile east down Old Bailey Road. There's an old man and a woman selling Hereford cows and cotton, I'm told. There's an old man and a woman selling Hereford cows and cotton, I'm told.
Thank you, Justin.
Thank you.
I
man.
enjoyed
Appreciate
it.
buddy.
Awesome. Great.
1, 2, ready and go.
Yeah, man.
That's just like